watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something's standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever. Take me, the highest fall, it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me. I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Welcome back everyone to the LCK. We're here for the last time for the post-analysis. And we're going to see what Dangun and Bittel has to say about this telecom war that has been fiery. Heading into game 2, now even onto a 1-1 after KT Rolster does pick out that very nice win in game number 2. Now we're going to head on to game number 3. Not really knowing which team is going to take it for this telecom war for that second round robin, but we're going to get a look back at game number 2 and see how it all turned out to be. Thought to be an SK Telecom victory, once again a clean sweep, but KT Rolster did turn around in the end. Let's get to the first highlight here before we get to the end here. And we actually saw the pillar, obviously, with the Gnar having to just back away, and maybe the SK Telecom looking like it was going to have a hard time, but really just having a hard time already looking through all of this, and one skill connecting at a time in the slow motion. You see that the most damage being taken is going to be the KT members, and even the Pyke trying to get that kill at the end does get it, and a double kill for it. And of course they're trying to get a late entrance, especially with Smith trying to go with the cannon ultimate, and does get at least a stop for the time being. And we see how the end of this goes, because it turns around again with the Gnar going to Mega Gnar with the ultimate, puts Deft and Yukal back into the wall. But what happens in the end is that Deft and Yukal, just a really close matchup that could have went either way on both sides, does get the win on this team fight over to KT for most of that instance. And really for SKT, it really should have been a lot better for this, but it really was a little bit more even than SKT would have liked in that first instance of that team fight. And of course good reactions from both teams meant that while it could have went to just one side at any point in that team fight, good reactions from both teams made it close to as even as we could have gotten it for that specific team fight. And we're gonna see how that all goes forward with obviously the Trundle doing so good in that front line as a tanking champion for the rest of the squad to make sure to go in right away. And this was a score obviously with the Trundle getting get out first, so very dangerous situation where score could have died out very early in an early stopwatch that could have otherwise been a death of score right away. A long pause after that stopwatch, and we see how this goes within. And the second knockup from that jump from the Gnar actually didn't happen there, so that could have been all the difference in the world, where Gnar could have gone that at one extra pixel above and could have get to that back of the line from the KT line. But in the end, after the KT knew that the Gnar couldn't come in as it had wanted, just an aggressive initiate coming from Mata with the ultimate, with Smith following up with the cannon ultimate as well. It just goes to show that really that one little difference happening from that Mega Gnar that could have got to the backline in time, that allows for basically a KT, a very, once again, a reactionary play from these guys again to get this very nice win. And even effort trying to go for that miracle triple kill in the end doesn't happen, and does allow for a very nice KT win on that team fight. And we actually saw from right before this team fight happened, the Baron has already been taken. So we knew the power shifts have already gone over to that direction. So it was real about trying to just squeeze into the narrow path from SK Telecom, and it definitely could have worked out. A good line of thinking from them, but good reaction from KT, knowing their advantages left and right, and went for that aggressive counterattack. And did get the win for that game number 2. Now we extend over to game number 3 and see what the fans had to say. And really, one of the left comments here on that middle does say the God of Smites. And that does refer to a lot of meanings here. And of course, the score being called as the great jungler that he is. And we all forget his history, but it's good to forget that for this time around, because Telecom War is bringing the excitement and I told you to forget about it, and Bitto is bringing it back again. The 2 HP man is back again, and the history, of course, he wants to race for himself, and a game like this does happen for him very nicely here too, and it really was just obviously score, wanting more optimism. So, you know, the one-line summary being, score used to be 2 HP man, but he definitely did something there, so now he's number 1. So that's the resolution there from him, and hopefully he can become better than number 1. Can he do that in game 3? We're going to find out as we head back to you guys for this last game of the Telecom War.
Thank you very much, Joel, and I certainly hope that Score is able to pick up the MVP. That smite was literally the thing that won them the game. Once again, back-to-back, the Barons are what win the game here, and it is going to be Score. 1-3-7, a modest scoreline, but who cares? He won the game.
Sometimes you just have to look for the turning point, and if KT Rolster, and remember guys, we have to have the winning team win the MVP in the LCK. There is no losing team MVPs.
Yeah.
And watch what happened here. Both smites were used, but I wasn't clear if it was an auto after the smite. Smite used by Gragas first, and then I think it was just a chomp from the Trundle.
Yeah. He munched it.
Well, I mean, you know, he got the Drake, and then it all came down to one play. Turned out there weren't many good things for KT to show in the replays, so we had to just show you 2 different plays. We get to the action faster this way, as effort will rue the day. He didn't quite kill everyone at the end.
This was the fight for KT, though. Somehow just able to layer this CC in a way that meant that SKT couldn't use that teamfight dominance effectively. The fact that the Slicing Maelstrom used just for that stun was what managed to get them over the line, and just had enough damage with the Featherstorm and the Blade Caller to burst out SKT, who were not tanky enough. And you can see already, SKT, they don't want to be in that booth. They were expecting to be going home right now. They were getting back in the car. It's not what's happening. Instead, they're loading back onto the Rift for a game number 3.
And for that, we are grateful. A 3rd game of the Telecom War. Going to be high drama, as always. Coach is in the booth. Let's load it up, Atlas. Let's see if we see any changes from game number 1, as we do see KT Rolster back on the blue side.
Yeah, what are the bans going to be this time for KT? Last time it was Galio, Morgana, and Pyke. SKT had to ban the Aatrox, the Nocturne, and the Talia. And once again, it is looking like it's going to be a run back, but what are the adaptations?
The Pyke ban is still something that KT might consider, because they found it very annoying to deal with the roam timings from effort in game number 2.
Yeah, you have to look at those picks in game number 2 and say, yep, they were basically winning the game for SKT, because it was another one of those Skara specials where we were winning until we lost.
Definitely an oldie, but very much applying to that game number 2. So it wasn't really about KT's play outside of 1 decent team fight and 1 Baron steal. It was really about how the game went. And
there's the adaptation.
They don't want to first pick Trundle, they will ban Trundle. See what that means? First pick Swain seeming very likely for KT in this game number 3.
Yep, certainly going to be the standard bans coming out from SKT, meaning that Swain was the first pick from last game, still going to be available for this game, but is it going to be potentially the Kindred? No, it's not. Smeb is going to lock away the Swain. Of course, Blank can go back to one of his most played. Of course, his most played of all time is the Gragas, but Gragas was one of the junglers for pretty much the entire time that Blank was playing League of Legends.
And it's rolling it back. It's not Trundle Ezreal, but it's Gragas Ezreal, so probably going to be Blank's pick. Outside chance they flex it later. If Score wants the Kindred, it would be against the Explosive Cast, which answers Lamb's Respite well, but it would be certainly a skirmishing advantage on a pick that he's shown a lot on. They'll hold up their horses on that for at least a moment. This would be the Shen support coming through if they're selected here.
Makes me feel like the Swain will likely be going towards the bottom lane as well. do like to have a mage with the Shen. Try and pile on a bit more burst damage instead of something else, but see what KT want to do for their final pick here as well. Remember, Bang's Ezreal in game number 1 was amazing.
I don't think they want to roll back the Caitlyn.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think we're going to be seeing Caitlyn in this game, and this might actually be a takeaway pick from FLICKR, because there's already the Gragas showing. They're going to hover it, so maybe it's just the mind games. It's actually going to be the Sejuani coming out for score.
Yeah, so the front line pretty much intact here for KT, Sejuani and Shen, with whoever's going to be playing the Swain also able to do some zoning on his own.
See what FLICKR makes of the Yasuo hover. Yukal had that massive hard carry performance on the Yasuo not many moons ago.
Of course, FLICKR could play it if he wants to, but they could also ban it immediately afterwards. Thus is red side as Mundo going to be picked. Now, and then SKT will be priced into banning away Mundo counters, meaning the Yasuo would still be available. I'm
a really big fan of teams picking Mundo on the 3rd pick on red side and then banning away Mundo counters. I feel like this is not done enough. I've called for it a couple of times on 8-13, and we haven't really seen it. So it's a good way to get Mundo a very comfortable matchup. Tal would like to keep it non-interactive if he can. However, he can't ban them all, because Smeb will either get Gnar or Kennen if he wants either.
Yeah, Smeb has a few options. Of course, the Jace is another outside choice as well, but they are going to leave that one up. Kennen's going to be banned, and these are going to be the anti-Mundo choices that SKT have opted in for, but like you say, still other things there.
Gnar, or like you mentioned, the Jace would be an interesting one, but I think the Gnar a little bit more reliable. KT looking for their next ban. Do they ban Yasuo? Because we've seen it go up and down, the Gragas Yasuo first rounds. Jin tried it yesterday, and we don't talk about that game as Grace got spanked in that particular one.
Yeah, well, Tahm Kench is actually going to be the one taken away here, not wanting to give, Bang all of the
defensive
safety.
Utility.
I just got completely trolled by the fact that there's SKT Deft on the side of SKT.
That is true. I just noticed that as well. Oops.
I was like, wait,
what will SKT Deft be locking in?
Oh, he's trolling. He's just going for a Zyra.
And look at this.
No, it's going to be the Zac. So the Blob is going to be picked up, putting Tal on the Gragas on the top side.
They have a Mundo.
Oh, right. Putting Effort on the Gragas on the bottom. Putting FLICKR on the Gragas in the mid. Putting Zac in the mid lane in the hands of FLICKR. I'm not entirely sure.
It does seem very likely we're going to be seeing a Gragas support on the side of SKT. You get the Zac versus Sejuani matchup. That's a desirable one. Speaking of desirable matchups, we mentioned there were 3 champions against the Mundo. It's going to be Gnar, piloted here by Smeb.
Well, Yukal could still pick up the Yasuo here. Otherwise, FLICKR could just pick up the Yasuo for SKT and have all of the knock-up synergy ever with the 2 champions that are available. And there's Yukal's Yasuo. He's going to lock that one in. There's a few knock-ups available, but not that many. It's once again just the Arctic Assault and the Gnar available from Smeb that is going to help augment what Yukal can already do on his own.
Well, SKT Deft is gone. Welcome SKT Bang into the Rift. He's now here
he
on the overlay. Looking for the last pick here. Would he bring back his most career play, the Orianna? We saw it a couple of times. I think they're going to lock it in. Waiting for it.
Yep, it's not a bad matchup, but no, not going to be the case. Is Vladimir the final consideration? FLICKR most likely going to be playing it. Is he the best Vladimir on the team, though, is the question.
It's definitely been a pick where his career win rate is lower. The Orianna against Yasuo matchup isn't an easy one. The Vladimir versus Yasuo is a big winning matchup.
Yeah.
For the Vladimir. Deft has not shown bot lane Yasuo, but the Vladimir versus Swain has been said to go the way of Swain. There's a lot of different flexes here that could happen. I expect it to be the mid lane from the Yasuo, and this would be the sort of matchup people were looking for. Seeing Yukal and FLICKR flex their might. No Gallios, no Rise. Bit of a fun carry matchup in mid lane. We didn't look like we were going to go to game number 3, Atlas. We're getting the bonus League of Legends, and this one could be spicy.
It's looking real spicy already. Yukal, remember, he had that hard carry performance, but it wasn't against a composition like this. SKT have put themselves together a whole bunch of beef, and they're going to throw it at KT with Bang standing in the back line, dealing so much damage. It was the double-tier Ezreal last time. I expect it to come in yet again to give them that late-game reliability. And KT this time playing with awesome dudes on the bottom side of the map. What I'm looking for, Papa Smithy, is an unlocked Marta. What can he do with the Stand United around the map, playing alongside the three that are going to be running around trying to get kills in Score and UCal, and Marta there with that ultimate.
It's definitely a different type of bailout, the Stand United, compared to the Tom Kench Devour that Marta was speaking about, being a big pick for the side of KT. KT Rolster with the Yasuo, when it comes to some of these fights, could be explosive. The Gnar and Yasuo together can do some big things. Deft has looked good on the Swain, but the Ezreal back for Bang, the Gragas back for Effort, who popped off on this pick a few days ago.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of flexes has given SKT this winning lane matchup, but the Vladimir has dogged FLICKR for a while.
Yep, that Gragas won them the game against MVP in that last one. Speaking of last ones, let's get into the last game of the day. KT versus SKT Telecom War Game 3. SKT fans certainly out in force, wanting them to be able to answer the KT victory that came as such a surprise in Game 2.
Big sack of gold for Ezreal. Got a control ward with 100 gold on a Q.
Wow, okay.
It's a big one for them. Fans have well and truly filled up the Sangam East Stadium for the Telecom War. Two biggest fan bases in Korea, so no surprise.
Although, it feels like most of them from SKT at the moment. You heard the crowd chants. SKT know that they are certainly behind them. Certainly ready for SKT to finally get to their final form. Not My SKT has been what I've been seeing absolutely everywhere.
I saw a lot of Not My KTs when Smab wasn't playing in game number 1.
Yeah.
Bang going for a fake leash on the bot side. Just Qs a couple of times to come into lane with less than full mana.
Trying to make sure the Zac pathing's going to be as comfortable as possible.
Mundo did, of course, come to lane very late as he had double never move.
That's the dream. Effort going to get the boot, though, as Body Slam has been taken first by the support Gragas.
I think it's pretty hard to obfuscate when the Mundo comes to lane that late, because what was Mundo doing will be the bigger question here.
Yeah.
Wait and see. Raptor start for Score, which is not what we usually see on the Sejuani, but the Talisman Sejuani has become more and more common. Effort misses that one.
Yeah, not going to be able to find that one. Which means that the cooldown is going to be extraordinarily long. Vital is going to have to get used to this, waiting for minion waves underneath the turrets, and UCal also going to be having a rough time here in this lane. You know, yes, Faker's win rate not necessarily fantastic, but his laning on the Vladimir has always been incredible.
It's really winning matchup for the Vladimir as well. Remember when I was trying to understand all the awesome dude matchups with the non-traditional AD carries in the period before we kicked off the summer season. I was watching a lot of duo queue. Bang and Gorilla were duoing as the Alistair and the Yasuo. That was the big duo we saw RNG actually able to substitute for Uzi pull out in the Demacia Cup in the offseason as bot lane.
Yeah, KT looking for the 2v2 as Bang is able to get out of there, does have the cleanse, and is now going to put it on cooldown in order to Arcane Shift out of the taunt. Another bop comes in, and damn, Effort with that level 2, picking up the Drunken Rage. Smacking down onto both Deft and Marta.
No cleanse against Taunt Flash Ignite availability, and the Swain passive means that Bang is going to have to farm from Mystic Shot range for quite a lot of CS here. Just finishing the story about the duo queue there. The hard counter to that lane ended up being the Soraka Vladimir. That was the big lane.
Yeah, that's what we got to.
Yeah. As here we go, some damage unloaded onto Bang. I think that time the Taunt Flash not invested.
Yep.
So just on a simple level, Vladimir greater than Yasuo is what you need to know about mid. But because it's the 3-6 career win rate for FLICKR, and of course he has very dominant win rates on most of his picks, is one that he's struggled on in the past.
Well, Blank looking to try and change that story as he's setting up for a gank onto UCal here in the mid lane. Elastic Slingshot already able to get a bunch of work done, even with only 1 point in it. See how UCal is going to go. I wonder whether if he sees the projectile, whether he tries to windwall the Zac and then realizes that that's a champion. Unfortunate.
Blank was considering that one just because there were so many minions to use the Q on to that some sort of CC was likely to hit.
Yeah.
Blank's last game on the Zac was in a Zac Yasuo comp that SKT ran, and most SKT fans would prefer to forget that one as Blank was frustrated many, many times trying to make the engage but not being able to pull it off. Deep Wall going to spot here.
And Mata actually just unlocked from this lane completely. Effort, he's moving around as well, as Blank's going to be starting on his blue, but just getting free information is KT's support. The River Shen once again in effect this game as UCal going to get electrocuted and FLICKR going to get knocked up by the Steel Tempest.
Sentences that, without the hindsight of knowing League of Legends, very amusing.
Yeah, would have been very confusing.
Back away, the Yasuo doing just fine in the early levels before the Q trades for the Vladimir really hit next gear. It's Electrocute Ignite from FLICKR, so no ambiguity about what's going on. UCal with the answering Ignite.
Not going to have all of the movement speed that a lot of Vladimir's want, so we'll see whether it's going to be Proto Belt Shirelia's coming out, whether he needs more item utility here for the Vlad.
The nice thing about Vladimir, as we see from the duo lane Vladimir, very frequently changing up summoner spells, Electrocute sometimes, Phase Rush sometimes, and then the Predator that you're kind of alluding to, Atlas, is that Vladimir is a very malleable champion in terms of item build path, and you consider the team comp he has Blank and Effort as big engagers, so he probably doesn't need to be teleport flanking or anything like that too much in this game. The Predator is of a little bit lower value. He just wants to double down on dunking lane. That's why he didn't go for the Orianna. He went for the Vladimir to dominate. And that is the flexibility that Vladimir provides.
Yeah, and also he's one of 2 damage threats on this team once again. He needs to be doing just as much flat damage as possible, and that's exactly what this build is going to be able to offer SKT. UCal getting zoned a little bit. For those things that's to be expected. He's gone for the soldier build with a couple of extra daggers there as well.
Does remind me of the last time these two great mid laners faced. If you remember in the first round, Robin, it was FLICKR's ability on melee champions, the Yasuo and also the Aatrox, to freeze the wave under his turret and basically deny UCal farm, even though UCal was playing ranged answers to those melee champions. This time, it's a different type of freezing and zoning, all about trying to minimize UCal's impact on the game.
Yeah, and FLICKR at the moment is able to hold this minion wave at a really nice position in the middle of the lane. UCal just relegated to underneath his turret. Thankfully, he should be able to get a whole bunch of these minions as they head forward, and we'll see whether he's going to be able to hold it under there, much like how FLICKR did.
All that holding has yielded a double Doran's and slower first item completion for UCal. So it's the reality of the matchup here. If you're against an Electrocute Vladimir with Ignite as a Yasuo and die, then you kind of opted into your own death. So it's much smarter to play respectful. Very early executions calling, and Smeb, shout out to his good friend Marin, has a cover.
Yeah, there it is. The Marin special towards the top side of the map. Of course, when you're in a matchup that's as winning as this, you're probably going to take whatever you can get to try and ride that one home, as Ultimate's going to fly forward. FLICKR, of course, is going to be able to find it, but Last Breath is there as well. Ignite goes down, stun comes in, first blood for UCal, and KT are on the board.
FLICKR got the perfect W off, but it wasn't enough. They followed up, they get the kill, bot lane.
Yep, Blank wants to answer as well as Def. Demonic Ascension comes in. He's doing so much damage, they'll find Effort, and they'll turn it around. 2 versus 3, who cares, says KT, as they're looking to really put their stamp on the early game.
Early game momentum, all the side of KT after stealing away game number 2. Stealing away the hearts of many SKT fans. Really big start for KT.
And this is not what happened last time, and they still managed to win, remember, in game number 2. It's all starting to go wrong as Blank's getting some flashbacks to that Zac game that didn't go quite as well as he would have wanted.
And Tal just wants to get the hell out of this game. This game sucks for Mundo.
Yep, and Smeb is going to continue trying to prove that one as Grievous Wounds stayed there for a long time as Airy just would not bug off. Goodness me, Tal. Smeb wants to try and get these autos back on top to get more Grievous Wounds.
A bit of a fight here, but it's Effort, not, of course, the enemy jungle Gragas.
I got very confused.
Yeah, I did
there,
too.
Papa.
Oh, boy. Effort really wishes he had level 6, because we saw some sick casks from him a couple of days ago.
Yeah, he was really carrying them in game number 3 against MVP.
Still could happen in this game, but a lot of momentum the side of KT, and it's such a big bailout. It was like a kind of a government bailout for the Yasuo, given he was getting denied and zoned away so hard in the mid lane. Now has kill gold, which basically closes up the gap between him and FLICKR.
Still, that lead is extending as far as CS is concerned from FLICKR. Both flashes missing from these mid laners, meaning that jungle respect has to come in from both sides. But this is where the real problem is this turret already down to half health. The Smeb's just going to gnaw the Mundo away to try and deny farm.
Of course, the struggle is on for KT fans right now. Is it time to get excited?
Well, I mean, Joel said it in the early post-match discussion that we had, so I think it's already been stated. I think people are already getting excited.
What is the safe lead that you can safely get excited on?
You can never safely get excited, Pub Smithy. That is the rule.
But you want to, because excitement is so exciting.
We're all excited. We're all excited, and it's never a good idea.
I'm not sure I'm excited at the moment.
I'm excited.
Well, I mean, so you're the one.
Well, I'm a play-by-play commentator as well. It's just generally what happens.
FLICKR
There's a
with
sidestep.
yeah. Casual sidesteps, nicely done by him.
Yep, well, Mart's up here as well trying to deny a blue buff, but neither FLICKR nor Blank really care that much about a blue buff. Blank's going to be the one to take the experience for it, at least.
I think Bang's very excited about 2 items with blue buff, which is what's going to happen very shortly in the game. But you're right, for now, there's going to be a bit of experience.
Wasn't up there, didn't have the availability to get in there and take it away, as Yukal trying to go aggressive against FLICKR here, uses his flow in order to answer the trade. But Shelly is going to be copping a beating here from Score. Bristle there as well. It's an unfair fight when you've got just Shelly, has to deal with a woman and a piggy.
Yukal's definitely misleading. He's gone for the Project Yasuo skin, which is, I believe, the most bought skin of all time, and usually a good indication.
Wasn't it?
I think it's actually Project
Yasuo.
Yasuo.
Oh no, Project Yasuo's come in.
And it's usually a good indication that your Yasuo is going to feed.
It was my favorite Yasuo skin.
How's your Yasuo, Atlas?
Terrible. You know that. That's what I meant. Just confirming your point, Papa Smithy. You know, I like to make you look good here on these broadcasts, and that's certainly me affirming exactly what you're saying. Bang farming on the bottom side, and Yukal trying to deny the critics of this particular skin.
Well, Smeb right now doesn't have a low health tile to dunk on it. Score is jungling around them. Not sure they have kill pressure just yet.
Sadism is available here for Tal as well, but with the Grievous Wounds up, he might just be taking 20% of his health with no options as Ward goes in and Score. He's staying around. He knows the vision range, and remember, that ultimate almost back off cooldown. Score's going to jump forward. Tal wants to get away from this turret. And KT, they just want to get the first turret. They'll put the money on the jungle and top lane. It's going to be pretty easy for KT just to utilize that top lane advantage to push it forward. Blank wants to be able to take this dragon, but full vision is available for KT.
Mid lane.
And now FLICKR, yeah, in trouble against Yukal. Was trying to find that knock-up, doesn't get it. Now a fight breaks out on the bottom side of the map as well. SKT forced to get the heck out of dodge, and Dragon denied. So nothing going to go into the hands of SKT.
Yeah, KT's macro here is really good. They're ahead of the play the entire time. They juke out the vision. By the time that Blank realizes they can't just look for a gank. Speaking of ganks.
Yep, the ultimate's going to land this time around, and there's CC for days with this duo. KT will set themselves up a purple monster in this mid lane as well, and they should be able to follow Shelly all the way to the inner turret.
This is an explosive lead for KT. They were ahead of the play. They knew that Blank would be very slow to take the Drake, and they had a ward on it. They turned that around. They get the Rift Herald with a double charge. KT Rolster in full control.
Effort does have level 6, but doesn't get himself to a position where he can use that explosive cast to challenge. It was 1-3-1 enacted here from KT. Smeb's pushing top. You've got Deft on the bottom side on his Swain. They're able to take down 2 turrets very early on. Close to 4,000 gold is the lead, but looking at the item timings, we've got Phantom Dancer done for Yukal. Null Magic Mantle there as well. The 1v1 getting scarier and scarier. FLICKR thankfully now has both of his summoner spells. Yukal without his Ignite might be keeping him a little bit more safe, having to really stretch to find positives for SKT at this part of the game.
Score has maneuvered around this lane with 2 successful ganks that has spared Yukal's blushes. Yukal was showing so much respect against the pick that was purely to deny lane. It wasn't able to do that because of the ganks from Score. Unfortunately, Blank hasn't been able to make those same plays happen. And moments like that, where you see everything is just scripted from KT in terms of ganking top, taking the turret, having the ward onto the Drake for the answering Drake play from Blank, and moving them away from that. That was KT ahead of the play, like they haven't really been this series so far.
Yeah.
In game number 1, they got the first turret with the Caitlyn, but never had step 2 and 3. This game number 3 that perhaps they should never have got to, they had step 2 and 3 ready to go, and that means that SKT are in a pretty big deficit.
I feel like you're right. I feel like it has been step 1's worked, yes, most of the time. Their like first move has worked out. However, it's move number 2 they really haven't got past, but this game, 3 and 4 worked as well. So it's unprecedented territory for this particular telecom war for KT Rolster. Can't be getting too excited just yet. Certainly not. Don't do it. It's frightening, but they're looking like they have all the control at the moment. That wind wall just got so much value for a level 1 wind wall.
It did, but let's watch here. SKT just about the map play. Perfect game pace for the first 15 minutes. Perfect game for KT fans. Whatever happens from here is here we go.
There's the flash's depth. That stopwatch got a whole bunch of value as well. Still hasn't used the flash, has the ultimate as well as he flashes out of the way of the kidnap. The Let's Bounce not going to get blank anything, and Smeb still abusing Tal up towards the top side. Oh no. Oh god, is this just the kill? No. Hyper just does so much work in this match.
It really does. It does so much work. He has to disengage so he gets Executioner's Calling, debuff off him, and then pops the ultimate to try to live. Still has his stopwatch. Tal's doing his best, but he's got no help in mid lane.
Another ultimate comes down. There's the knock-up combo. UCal doesn't find the last breath. Wanted to hold on to it. As the Hemo Plague comes in, that will actually help FLICKR get a bunch of his health back, but they'll still be able to take this inner turret, and UCal still has the ultimate at the ready.
Not gonna get too greedy for these last hits. Seems like Marta was the one left with the assignment. He's gonna get the gold there. Good job, Marta.
100%. Nice.
Fed on the Shen.
What's he gonna build? Sunfire now gets a split push on.
Not often that you get 2 mid lane turrets at 15 minutes 50, but that is what KT have after the chain ganks to mid lane.
Well, there's another flash to come in there as Effort. He's going to be the target this time. The chain CC is so beautiful. Marta's going to be able to get a kill as well as a solo turret gold.
That was
fed.
Really fancy by Marta to make that play happen. Nicely done. They're going to get the bot lane turret, and this is a disaster for SKT.
Yeah, that was one of the taunt flashes of the trickiest kind. If Lehens hadn't played in the series earlier and had that 3-man taunt the first one, get the flash to taunt the second two, probably would have said it was the best of the day, but it wasn't. Didn't come in, but certainly picked the angle.
Yeah, this is hard watching, I think, for SKT fans. Top lane's done exactly what it should. The Gnar has just dunked down on the Mundo. Never died, did Tal, but of course, they could only ban away 2 counters to the Mundo, and this ended up being the Gnar. He's controlled, and Blank couldn't make a play elsewhere, and the critical thing is that Score went topside, took the turret, then went mid lane and got FLICKR a couple of times. In that meantime, sadly, for the second time in a row on the Zac, just hasn't been the tonic for SKT's success in the early game.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate because a lot of the compositions that we've seen these Mundos picked into have been comps that the Mundo answer just hasn't been good enough from the opposing side, and it means that Corporate Mundo looks like he's calling to tell his corporate buddies how great this game's going. Right now, he's calling his mum to say that he's going to really need a hug later on today because this lane has gone awfully for Tal this game.
Smeb's a jerk. He actually went for a Mortal Reminder second. For, I just would like to kill this one guy. No one else has armor, but I'm not interested in anyone else.
I call this one the Robin Hood build. He's now got his sword and his bow and arrow. He's ready to go.
What's a cull?
That's a sickle.
Okay.
Yeah, so he can also just cut down the hay when he's back in the, the town.
7,000 damage, all of it to Mundo.
Oh, God. And 723. He's done 10 times the damage that Tal's done.
Yep.
And Mundo's normally getting free damage by just cleavering people. Good God. Knockup's going to come in. I could imagine UCal probably wanted to actually act on that with the last breath, but decides not to. Tal underneath the turret with a Sunfire Cape, still something that UCal's not prepared to take down. He's got a Hex Drinker as well, delaying that Infinity Edge that he wanted. And FLICKR is staring down the barrel once again of a Vladimir game that he's set up to lose.
Picked for lane. Remember that. He picked for lane. He went laning Summoner, laning Keystone. It was all to shut down the Yasuo, but of course it's not a 1v1 game, and Score has circumvented the pick for lane. UCal was respectful till his jungler came, and unfortunately now FLICKR just bears the brunt of what his assignment was to do. Last pick. They could have last pick for team comp. They at least flirted with the idea of the Orianna, great ball carriers on the side of SKT, but maybe remembering that the Zac couldn't be the conduit for the Yasuo the previous time. He instead went for his own pick. He went for lane, and unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out.
Yeah, also giving UCal a good lane for the Yasuo is probably bad news. I mean, yes, you have range advantage, but being able to deny ball repositioning is pretty important when you go for those all-ins and things like that. So I do respect the idea from SKT, but just upsetting that it's really bitten them in the backside. When it comes down to it, And it's all about score. Might be looking down the barrel of the score double MVP this time around as well. It was for one play last time, but it's for a lot of them this time around. Blank. Can he get in there? Effort. He tells him no because don't have the vision control. They don't have the answer. And Smeb, he needs Bang there as well to answer him. KT, they know that it's now 4 versus 3 on the top side. This is what they're able to do. The man advantage that they're able to get just by having Smeb so huge on this Gnar.
Baron only just spawns now, Atlas. It's only now on the Rift. KT don't have the fastest Baron, but Yukal can cheat a little bit, put down the win wall in order to allow them to do it a little bit safer. Doesn't have an Infinity Edge, so it's pretty low damage build on the Yasuo for now, but given the lane opponent, again, very understandable.
Yep, still happily farming as well. Berserker's Greaves have been picked up. Now with the Hex Drinker as well as the Phantom Dancer, he's probably feeling much better against FLICKR. Look to be picking up Spellbinder as item number 2, so no Shirelias like we were musing about. Like you were saying, their teamfight should have been all about having so much CC and then using the Vladimir for damage. As Smeb, he's looking for the 1v1, doesn't get the hype, but the fadeaway jump shot not there either. And Tal is able to walk it off. But he's asking for a band-aid from his mum now on the phone because it's still not good. He has to go back home.
There's no items he can build unless he gets to 3 or 4 that could even slow down the Gnar, much less answer. It's so frustrating for Mundo because he has to build armor to deal with the brunt of the itemization, and guess what? He's got Armor Pen and Hyper, does so much magic damage. That could be a Rage Blade coming out at some point here. Smeb just wants to be an even bigger jerk.
Yeah. Now, Bang is going to turn up, but there's no turret that Smeb's diving this time. And he's got about 2,000 gold that he wants to spend. See whether that Ruby Crystal is going to turn into a Black Cleaver, because then even the armor that Tal is building won't mean too much. As another Sanguine Pool's timed beautifully from FLICKR. He never really questioned his mechanics on the Vladimir. However, the game is falling apart around him. Getting that cooldown also a huge deal for pushing towards this inner turret.
Just different to the other games, because I remember the Vladimir in the past being roamed upon and FLICKR not using Ghost Flash to get between lanes and thus the action happening elsewhere. This is just purely him being camped. Very different type of loss on the Vladimir, but definitely by far one of his lowest career win rates for playing many times. I think Karma is another one that's below 50%, but not as low as this Vladimir.
Yeah. I feel like Karma's a different story. It's more like he doesn't have enough agency. And on the Vladimir, I guess he does have agency, but
the Lulu worked so well, but the Karma, of course, took over after the Lulu era, and it was when SKT's fortunes were a little bit more on the wane.
I feel like Lulu can be so many different things, though. When FLICKR played the Lulu, it was like he was outplaying people by telling other people what to do. It was crazy watching that guy play Lulu.
Well, Blank might go in this time.
We're looking for the YOLO engage as Deft immediately pops the ultimate. Tal's going to make his way forward. We've got the teleport flank coming in from Smeb. Namar in a great position. Is that kidnap? Actually, good news is the real question. As Deft goes low, they're just fighting away from the Mundo. As FLICKR goes into stasis. They managed to pick up one of the kills as Tal going nuts on the back line. And Smeb can't actually close the distance onto anyone. Bang over the wall now as well, is very safe as FLICKR looking for the re-engage. Does have a sneaky Q to throw forward as it's a 2-for-1 in favor of SKT.
Nice timings. Yukal couldn't get to the fight at all, only ulted right at the end. Like you mentioned, Smeb got no value out of the Mega Gnar. They were able to actually take a fight when the deck wasn't stacked against them, which, given the scenario, was going to be a pretty narrow win condition. Watching the replay, Yukal with Ignite is top lane, never going to get there. Nice moves from the side of SKT. Like you say, they do win the fight overall. Picture in picture, we see a Drake goes down, a Cloud Drake picked up by the Gnar. All about the timings of when to make this play, because Stasis is used, and Yukal, for all his fortune in getting the ganks from the Sejuani, unable to actually come up big in the fight.
And Smeb never found that Mega Gnar ultimate either. Just didn't get it into this fight whatsoever. You mentioned Yukal, but that was the last breath to disengage by the looks of things, so probably couldn't have gone any worse for KT. Black Cleaver will be the next option here for the Gnar as well, so at least now has a little bit of a health bar. Try and get into these team fights, and there it is, completed now.
Continues to build for
Infinity Edge done, Popper.
That's a big jump in power for the Yasuo. Side laning for so long. Let's see what KT do to increase the pace of the game, because the Baron is something they want to go to. They are still massively in the lead at 24 minutes, but again, plenty of fans, plenty of teams, Kindred comps especially, have understood that getting a big lead, then converting it, not so easy, and maybe Blank's due for a big Baron steal.
Maybe Effort's due for death, as Vision of Empire is going to spot out the support Gragas, who's not very tanky. Score decides that he doesn't want to use the Arctic Assault to close the gap. Once again, we've got ourselves in this 4-1 scenario where Smeb's pretty happy on the bottom side. However, teleport advantage is there for SKT. Still looking for more options. Ult flies forward onto Blank. Wants to get the Kidnap to use to disengage, and Effort going to help out as well with the explosive cast. Some big buttons on cooldown for SKT. However, they don't lose anyone.
Don't lose anyone, so that means the Baron can't easily be started by KT, but they could try to roll it down with damage. They bounce over. This is in vision of SKT.
They decide not to wait for Deft as well, who wanted to actually get over there with the Blast Cone as well. SKT actually looking for this one as Bang almost gets 3-shot by Smeb. Still looking for more here as he throws the boomerangs in. The teleport finally going to be invested by Tal. But now we'll have to flash if he wants to get into this Baron pit. And Smeb's just playing such good guard duty now as Deft waiting to try and get this flank. Does have the ultimate available, but no flash to get himself even further in there. It's now Blank's turn to go for the steal as he gets knocked up. The smite isn't going to be available. I don't think so. The Bloblets, they can't smite, and that's going to be Score, locking down his second Baron of the game. Remember, we've only had 3, and whoever takes it gets the win.
Comes Smeb. Still messy stuff from KT. They do get the Baron, though.
Yep, that is certainly the good news part, as you can see Blank not very happy on your screen right there. He tried to get into the pit much like Score did, but the slowdown was too good from KT. Smeb now setting up, wants to try and get this minion wave into position as their 1-3-1 is looking terrifying with Baron buffed minions and a Gnar and a Yasuo.
Definitely going to be rose-tinted by KT. They got the Baron, but consider how this all goes. They don't have a way to stop the Zac from getting to the pit. Notice when they stopped DPS in the Baron, it's much later than we saw in the previous game, but that was because Deft could damage it over the wall, which allowed for the smite. This time, it's only the Zac. No one has damage over the wall to help it get low. By the time it goes down, it does go to the Sejuani. But given how far ahead KT were, one of the only ways back into the game was SKT being in smite range, and damn were they close.
Yeah, and almost had Score dead as well, as Blank was the one that suffered the fate, but SKT were very close to just getting rid of the Sejuani. Mata, Operation Destroy All Vision on the top side of the map has been relatively unsuccessful. As you can see, there's still a few wards waiting around, but it's not going to stop this inhibitor, this inner turret from falling. Bang now just trying to deal with these powered up creeps that are heading towards his base, and Tal doing the same thing, but on the bottom side against Smeb and against these hyper procs, which are getting real problematic. Spectre's Cowl done as well. Now he can build for the team fights, as he's just going to start headbutting this inhibitor. And what is an SKT player to do when this big ol' Gnar is beating down your structures? The answer is let him go.
Minions doing most of the work in other lanes. No one is walking up to be bounced in by Effort on these casks. No way to clear this cannon. Don't even need a banner of command. Normal banner, the normal cannon minion with the Baron buff doing just fine.
Yeah, now KT going to break the base in the mid lane as well. SKT just looking on, waiting for their opportunity to try and do something. Tal, very, very low on health, does have sadism up. And thankfully the Warmoth's armor is going to make it look like he has the ultimate running. But KT don't actually have to do anything. An Effort, in fact, going to fall down. Stopwatch going to be used. It's almost the best bait ever. However, he is going to die. The Yasuo takes the turret and is now looking for his time to find the ult. The big Gnar into the Nexus as KT pile on top of SKT. It's another 2-1. It looked like it was going to go in favor of SKT earlier on, like it did in the first round robin. But KT have answered back. The Nexus is going to fall, and KT Rolster, against all odds, win the telecom war.
The hand of fate can be so cruel, Atlas, as SKT fans will feel right now. This should have been their series 2-0, but one smite later, it's a final best of one. And this time, Score and KT have a great early game plan that SKT couldn't answer. They got so many advantages in that play around top lane turret, answered bot lane, turned it into a mid lane double charge. And from there, SKT just could never get back into the game. Score's camp of mid lane came off a treat. FLICKR's mid lane Vladimir once again registers a loss. KT Rolster will move to 7-4, and for SKT, they are now 4-7, and their hopes of playoffs fast slipping away.
Yeah, KT looked like it was going disastrously. The beginning of Game 2, the entirety of Game number 1 was a little bit of a worry, and then managed to turn it around, managed to find their footing, found their mojo in Game number 3. It was a shellacking, but damn, it delivered. You mentioned drama earlier on. There was a heck of a lot. This is a telecom war like we'd expect. High drama, high stakes. You can see on the SKT members' faces, it was stolen away from them, but not in this game, in Game number 2.
You do feel like if you ran that game number 2 back a couple of times, ran that last bit, SKT wins 9 out of 10 times, 19 out of 20 times. But the hand of fate can be so cruel, and now they come away with nothing. They come away with some improvement. Of course, we can see with our own eyes that in Game 1, SKT did look very impressive for the majority of Game 2. Looked very impressive, but they need the results. They can't take honorable losses anymore when they find themselves at 4-7. Playoffs minimum is usually 8. It's still attainable, but you might need more than that. And right now, we're running out of games for SKT.
Good lord, Smeb did a lot of smacking down onto Amundo on the top side of the map. The Gnar was pretty unstoppable, but it was all about keeping that Vladimir down, Score controlling the map on the Sejuani. Certainly a pick that he's done fantastic things on, and look, the Zac just got kept in check the whole time. 1443 damage is not the lowest that we've seen, but it's pretty damn low.
Even if it was less than 612, it's a Zac compared to Trinity Force Jax, so it's not really a relevant comparison on that side, but he's just getting so controlled. I feel like Score will easily win the MVP again. It's the fact that we don't ever see the Elastic Slingshot be used for a really big engage. Score in the team fights that interrupt it with the Q, the Arctic Assault. Was the macro play from KT, but also the mid lane camp. FLICKR did everything he could in this play, and yet still went down.
Yeah, is the permafrost for the follow-up CC, and Yukao cuts him down for that first blood. As this CC chain would have me tilted, and I bet FLICKR was probably feeling it as well, as over and over again, he was camped out on the Vlad. Vlad often one of these champions that's so incredibly safe. However, if you just set up a tent, you're able to take him down, as this was a real cute Taunt Flash. Taunt
Flash into interrupting the body slam as well for sad Gragas in that one. This was where KT, you know, they played this pretty unscrupulously, all things considered. Score didn't want to smite the Baron for health. This would have been smite range for the enemy. Didn't die and was able to pick it up. They closed down the game on the final push, and KT Rolster, all they can do is take the victory and move on to the next game. They're all about making it to the playoffs. It did feel like we were set up for one telecom war team making the playoffs and one missing out. It's not in stone, but looking more and more likely that KT will be going up, and SKT still so much work to do.
Yeah, it's just a lot of these top spots so coveted, but guys, we are going to go into the MVP interview. It was Score both times, so we're going to throw it over to Joel for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translation. We're going to have a talk with the jungler who does smite better than the opponent jungler, and we're going to talk with Score after KT beat out this telecom war against SK Telecom. We're going to talk with him, and also Smeb, just for an added bonus to see what they think about today's games. And you want to talk about the best jungler right now for today's game, that is going to be Score for the day.
He got a podium.
Yeah, wow.
Well, first of all, I think Baron fight is I think the one that gets it is the better jungler out of the day. So I think definitely the one that got it today was me. So I'm the better jungler for today. Smeb, I'm sure you were right beside him as he got that. I was so happy. I was so sad. I've never been this happy in a long time. What was your reaction when he actually got the smite? And I'm sure that situation was a bit unique. That's a little bit awkward for a KT. Yeah, I was very surprised. I was like, he got it? It's like that's the, and we were all exclamation point all over. And Score, you were talking about that last team fight. You got caught up first, and it could have been a dangerous situation. But what did you feel as if that you could have came back to win that team fight in the end? And this was just avoiding, obviously, the ultimate from Blank. It was very dangerous in a situation, but the Malzahar did a very good job of putting the silence on, and we just used that extra second. We knew that we could go on in, knowing that there's going to be no counterattack from SKT. Did you feel like you were able to get the counterattack here? And with Mata, we were also very available and to use the ultimate, and we thought we were going to stay alive there. We were going to ask you, and we were talking about database. And it really was Smeb was just all about, you know, just trying to come in and trying to play as a starter. And how was it in the bench? You playing basically starting your entire career almost. It's my first time actually resting, so yeah, I was kind of watching the game, and actually just watching the game makes me actually more nervous, and it was a very unique experience overall. But I think our player did a very good job in the top lane, but did lose out, but I don't owe it to him for that loss, so he did a good job. Of course, you really have to just to experience this yourself, but we actually, let's go to some of the highlight here and how this all feels for Score in the end. And Score said basically is not gonna allow that to happen. I mean, it's something that was unfortunate. When I was trying to steal away, I never really fought trying to go for a Baron steal. I usually get it stolen away from me, but never really went for the steal myself. So something that really kind of made me a little bit unfortunate is that I'm better at these than people think. That I actually got it today, just a regular day at the office for that. And you were really just putting your emphasis onto that mid ganking and really was successful. High percentage win rate on this mid gank here. And this was just a Vladimir that has really good mobility to get out of there, but still caught it. And it's a Yasuo Vladimir. If I could just get even a flash out of the Vladimir, it's really good for the Yasuo to get even a solo kill on. So that's kind of what I was going for, but getting killed was nice as well. It just feels as if Score was trying to just exhaust his anger of trying to maybe had to go with something here, especially with Smeb. I think composition-wise, there wasn't many situations where I was going to die out, so I was kind of confident in just staying alive. And really was just trying to defend against my opponent top laner. And you were watching in that top lane in that first game. And with how was it? You know, just looking through. Maybe what was your overall experience for you? In the first game, it's a little bit sad because I was just watching from the stands and wish that good individual performance that could have went to a win did end up in a loss. And you were trying to come in and trying to turn that sadness into happiness. And Deft was actually right beside me, and I was trying to jump twice, so something that wasn't intentional. Because of Deft, I had to go in extra days, and that was the situation where I would have to avoid. That was Deft's fault, definitely. And Deft's Swain was absolutely just fantastic with KT. It's really unpredictable how KT is going to come out in terms of results. Well, for us, I think even internally, we have really good form that we just never really lose to any other team in the LCK. But I feel like our confidence in our skills is always there, but just depending on our form and our condition for the day, that just really allows us to at least try to be energetic and trying to get positive, trying to get the best games as we can. And the Texan bans were interesting as well. And it really was something that was very traditional in that first game, but now going to the modern picks, that was game 2 and 3. What do you prefer a little more in terms you have to choose between the two? For me, I think I just like trying to like the beatdown composition that just try to go through front line, try to get everything in line. And with that composition that is unique, is the kind of the experimentation, also trying to researching into trying to get new tactics in line for you guys, and of course forever rivals with SKT. I'm sure that win does make you want to say something that's a little bit meaningful. It is revenge and that feels good, but I feel like there are many strong teams ahead. I feel like this is just a first step ahead, because beating SKT does feel good, but for the next games ahead, we want to get our heads up strong and trying to get the next games ahead as well. But the KT fans, obviously, they're really in a roller coaster ride every single day, it seems like. And anything you want to settle them down with your comments? And with our round, and we lost to Hana in that first round robin. We actually thought that maybe if we lose a few more games that we might just go to relegation. So we think of that as we play each of our games. So we're really playing with our lives and trying to make sure we find a stability, and hopefully that can produce just some positive results and some good results for our team as well. And really just explosiveness of KT is what everybody loves, and that's what got them the win today over SK Telecom. Just a reverse sweep with that game 3 win for these guys, and we'll see how far they get after these games as we send it back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Joel, for your translations throughout the day. KT Rolster are going to be your victors of the telecom war. The last game was clean. Can't say the same for game 2, but damn, it was exciting.
Telecom War delivers. It always does, in one way or the other. KT Rolster should feel fortunate to come away with all the points this time. They were able to get over the line over SKT in game number 3, but a lot to work on. In game 1 and 2, definitely not a performance that would beat some of the teams they will have to face in playoffs. As right now, they get a little bit more entrenched in playoffs. The line seems to be around 8 or 9 match wins. We start to think about where 5th needs to be. They have 6th spot, has 6 match wins in SK Telecom. Remember, they have 7 matches left, and right now find themselves 3 matches away from 5th spot.
They're going to have to start winning basically everything if they want to be able to find that spot in the playoffs. And they keep playing like the SKT that we saw today. At least in the last 2 games, it could be a problem. However, start of game 2, the entirety of game 1 that was almost flawless execution from SKT, shutting out that of KT Rolster could be really dangerous. However, we got some spicy matchups coming your way, especially once we're back here at OGN on Saturday. Griffin versus KT, and then SKT do get that rematch against Hanwha that we were talking about.
That is a good day. Griffin versus KT Rolster. Griffin just came up. KT won today. Both teams coming on a match victory makes that a really fun one. Griffin could just roll over KT, or KT could hit another gear. We know they have that potential.
Yeah, so this is going to be our next OGN matchup that we were talking about. It is going to be back at the Nexon Arena tomorrow night for SPO TV's broadcast. We get to see whether Jinair can bounce back after suffering the only loss to BBQ so far this season yesterday. But this match, man, Griffin versus KT, if KT can do it again, get that 2-0 like they were able to, they could potentially pip Griffin at the post and try and find themselves further up that ladder.
But good news, I don't think anyone comes away too excited for KT, so maybe they'll do all right.
Hey, that's true, because they basically lost this series until they didn't. Guys, that's all from us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at the Nexon Arena.